Welcome back to Radically Rational Radio. In this episode, we're going to look at the clown show we call our government. There seems to be about 2 handfuls worth of Republicans that are attempting to be elected officials and provide us with truth. Behind the scenes, they still do a lot of voting and things that can be very frustrating. However, they have been on the side of defending Americans. The Democrats, however, over the last few years, anytime I've watched any discussion in the Senate or Congress, the only thing the Democrats, they're either gaslighting, saying the world is burning down and there's violence and oppression, or they're attacking American citizens and the quality of their nature, and they're always doing that in defense of federal agencies. I just find it so bizarre that whenever I hear a Democrat, they're only ever telling you, here's why you need to be scared, here's why you need to give us more money. Here's why you need to be scared. Here's why we need more money. And here's why this guy is lying to you and the federal government is on your side. When there's actual documentation of the federal government labeling the Betsy Ross flag, don't tread on me, patriot-based values as internal threats to America. I agree they're not wrong in the sense that they are a threat, but not to America. There are just enough people who are sick of the federal government. In this episode, we're going to watch an MSNBC clip and just listen to the underlying goals of these people speaking. You can almost ignore their words. What is the message behind the statement? What are they leaning towards? I mean, these are such leading questions. For me, it makes their underlying motivations clear. I want you to judge for yourself. Let's jump into it.
Good evening. Once again, I'm Stephanie Rule. Partisan fireworks erupted on Capitol Hill earlier today in a hearing for the so-called Weaponization of Government Committee, which, of course, is led by Ohio Republican Jim Jordan. The witnesses were 3 self-described FBI whistleblowers who Jordan and his fellow Republicans said would show that the FBI was biased against the right. But NBC reports that yesterday, the FBI warned Jordan in a letter that 2 of these 3 witnesses, quote, lost their security clearances because of their conduct in January 6th cases, brought into question their allegiance to the United States. But that did not stop Jim Jordan. The hearing went on exactly as planned, and it was clear from the start exactly where both sides stood.
Politics is driving the agenda in federal agencies. And maybe what's just as frightening is if you're one of the good employees in our government who come forward to talk about the targeting, you then become a target. You face retaliation.
My colleagues on the far right are on a mission to attack, discredit, and ultimately dismantle the FBI. This select committee is a clearinghouse for testing conspiracy theories for Donald Trump to use in his 2024 presidential campaign. This is not a committee on the weaponization of government. This is a committee for the weaponization of government.
It was a big old show. The hearing escalated when Democrats on the committee went after Republicans for refusing to share earlier testimony from one of the 3 witnesses.
Will you give us a copy of that testimony that was transcribed of your discussions with him?
That'll be up to Mr. Allen.
But you are in possession of them, aren't you?
Sure are.
So why would you not give them to us?
Mr. Allen's a whistleblower and he didn't want that to happen.
He didn't want, but he's comfortable here in open discussion with us today?
Sure is, and you can ask him questions if you want.
You don't share your information with the minority? The whistleblower doesn't make committee rules, sir.
Only some members of the committee get it? Another flashpoint, Jim Jordan's decision to call these witnesses whistleblowers.
Mr. Chairman, these individuals have been determined not to be whistleblowers. These are not whistleblowers. They've been determined by the agency not to be whistleblowers. Are you deciding that they're whistleblowers?
Yes, the law decides. Did you not listen to Mr. Levitt's testimony? Did you not read the law? The law decides that they are whistleblowers.
His attorney is
chair
asserting
recognizes
that they are
the gentlelady from New York. The gentlelady from New York has been recognized.
The law has not determined they are whistleblowers. His attorney is just asserting that.
As I said, a big old show. With that, let's get...
The rest of this is just a waste of time. I know it's MSNBC, so I totally get they're going to put qualifiers on everything one side says and put verifiers on everything the other side says. Now, this is just so difficult. This is not a left versus right. It is very frustrating that Democrats really, really want to defend themselves. I would just like to see a Democrat actually say that they failed in something without blaming someone, something, or some event. I can't find it. And right now, it is just so clear that half of our government is really only self-interested in maintaining itself, and the other half of the government is really just not able to do anything either because the bulk of the Republican Party works for the state, and there's only a couple of people that are actually trying to fight for either states' rights or people's rights. And it's just disgusting hearing a whole class of people that genuinely believe they're doing the right thing by defending the FBI and by discrediting Americans. It's disgusting. You can hear it from them. The agency disqualified them as whistleblowers. That's like saying my rapist is allowed to disqualify whether it was a rape or not. No agency gets to qualify what they're doing. They are expressing their First Amendment rights of what they saw, and we had to create laws to protect them. And yet there are still people, and unfortunately these people are primarily in the Democratic Party, do anything to save face and just treat this like a us versus them battle. I don't think the Republicans actually think of it so much as a left versus right battle. I think they see that there's clearly bureaucracy that they need to get rid of. And then on the other half, you actually have a bunch of people who just think they're good and they believe they're on the righteous side, and they're destroying America. And we have a bunch of voters that just want to feel like they're doing better in the world, and they're going to keep voting for these people. As long as we're a democracy where a bunch of highly emotional, active people want to tell us what to do, we're screwed. And our education system promotes that mentality. Either accept who you are, pick whatever your ideology is, and most important, don't ever look at how many people are actually being hurt, because you're doing good work. If you save one person at the cost of 1,000, it was worth it. And I think that's where we fundamentally disagree. I think there's a class of people who are willing to sacrifice for a bunch of people in hopes to save one, and there are another class of people who would let 1,000 guilty men go free so that one innocent man was not imprisoned. Unfortunately, the ones of us who really don't think should be interfering in other people's lives really don't like the idea of voting either, because philosophically it's against what we believe. Then you have a mass of people who believe that democratic rule is right and feeling bad is unacceptable. Feeling bad is a natural instinct. It tells you to do better. These people refuse to listen to that. Instead, they form a cognitive dissonance, and the road to hell is paved with good intentions. If you get a chance to watch these full briefings, if you can take off your left versus right ears, just listen. One party is trying to allow a side to say what happened to them, and the other side is trying to discredit them. And I just don't get it. When a third party comes, there should be no left or right. They should both be listening and actually trying to get the truth out. One side's not looking for the truth. They're looking to persuade you to think you're watching something else. And that is a definition of manipulation. I hope you learned something. This is Tristan with Radically Rational Radio. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay resilient.